There are headlines and people are making some serious allegations linking you to certain celebrities.
For my peace of mind, my sanity, and my clarity, this has been nagging at me for a while, and I've brushed it away. But there's so much stuff that has come up, and there's things that, I was exposed to some things, and it's just, it's so hard to say stuff.
Word got out this week that the Diddy situation just got a whole lot darker. According to sources close to the case, he's allegedly HIV positive, and people are saying he contracted the virus through those infamous multi-day freak-off sessions he's been accused of running. But that's not even the most shocking part of this story, because now a name is coming up that nobody expected. Gina Tew, the TikTok influencer who went public about her own HIV diagnosis, is reportedly connected to this whole thing in a way she never fully disclosed to her followers. Sources are suggesting she had freak-offs with Diddy right around the exact same time she contracted the virus, and she left that part out of the story she's been sharing online. Then it gets worse. People locked up alongside Diddy in that New York jail have reportedly confirmed that he has been receiving HIV treatment ever since he was first brought in. But here's the thing. The level of care and treatment he's getting behind bars is nowhere near what he was receiving when he was a free man with unlimited resources. And according to those same sources, that's the real reason he looked so worn down and physically frail during his trial. Everyone just assumed he was stressed out about the courtroom proceedings. Meanwhile, the man was allegedly in there fighting a serious illness the entire time. This honestly wasn't the tea I was ready for this morning, but here we are. There's way too much going on with this story to just scroll past it, so we're going to get into all of it, piece by piece. Now, if you're not familiar with who Gina Tew is, let me give you some background. She's a TikTok creator who went public back in 2022 about her HIV diagnosis and brought her audience along as she navigated living with the virus. She's never named the celebrity she believes she contracted it from, and she stated that she's keeping that person anonymous for legal reasons. But this new connection to Diddy is putting her story under a very different light. And honestly, what she's been through is devastating. She went nearly 8 full years without even knowing she had HIV. 8 years.
How many dudes is running around undetectable, G?
Come on.
In the game?
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names.
By the time she finally went to the hospital to figure out why she had been sick for so long, the virus had already progressed into full-blown AIDS. She lost almost all her muscle mass and dropped down to just 65 pounds. She also lost sight in one eye. In her own words, she described it like this. I started noticing something was wrong with me. Immediately, I started losing mobility in my legs, and I couldn't make it to the bathroom. I was running head first into the walls because I just couldn't control myself. I lost issues with my bowels, like I started just going whenever, wherever. And when I went to the hospital and they found out and told me about it, just within like 2 weeks, not even, I couldn't walk anymore from being bedridden. I still can't walk. I'm still trying to gain muscle in my legs to be able to stand because I still need help standing. People kept asking her how she didn't notice the symptoms sooner, and that response right there pretty much answers it. You never went to the doctor. And she said no. Keep in mind, she was living in New York at the time, and that detail is going to matter, so hold on to it. The good news is Gina's health has turned a corner in a real way. She's now at 100 pounds, and she's actually relearning how to walk, which is huge considering where she was before. Her CD4 cell count has gone up, and that's a direct result of how consistent she's been with her treatment plan. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, basically she's no longer detectable for AIDS, only for HIV. And if she keeps up with her meds the way she has been, she could eventually become undetectable for HIV too. Now here's where things start to get messier. At one point during her time in New York, Gina was homeless. And if you know anything about Diddy's indictment, you already know New York was one of his main hunting grounds. According to what came out in his case, he was running his freak-offs across New York, LA, Vegas, and Miami. People close to this story believe Gina got pulled into one of those situations during her time in the city, and that's how she ended up contracting HIV. And let's be honest, Diddy's track record when it comes to protection is not exactly reassuring. Cassie literally said in court that she had caught multiple STIs, and at one point her body had become so used to the treatment that it stopped working properly. On top of that, all the accounts coming out of those freak-offs mentioned mountains of baby oil, but not a single word about protection being present. Not one. When you put all of that together, it's hard not to draw a straight line. But wait, because it goes even deeper than that.
So y'all know I've come to terms that I don't know who gave me AIDS or HIV, right? So today I got a message about an interview that I should watch. And this interview happened to include a celebrity man this man has been with me and everybody else doing the same thing with.
Gina herself admitted she got involved with celebrities at freak-offs partly to make quick money to fund what she described as a substance addiction. That context matters because it helps explain how she ended up in those rooms to begin with. She wasn't just some random person, she was someone who was vulnerable, and someone allegedly took advantage of that. Right around the time the rumors about her and Diddy started picking up steam, she jumped on TikTok and told her followers she had been triggered after seeing something on the news about a male celebrity. She didn't drop a name, but let's be real. There's only one male celebrity who's been absolutely dominating the news cycle right now. The timing of her post, sitting right in the middle of all the Diddy chatter, didn't feel like a coincidence to anybody watching. And here's the part that really made people pay attention. She said the reason she isn't naming this person publicly is because she's planning to sue them. She wants to be completely sure before she goes on record. She actually said it herself. Y'all know I've come to terms that I don't know who gave me AIDS or HIV, right? One morning, she woke up to a message in her inbox. It was a heads up about an interview she needed to see. And the person sitting in that interview chair was someone she'd been intimate with for years. Someone she actually had real feelings for. The interview wasn't flattering, not even close. It painted this man in a way that was hard to watch, especially knowing what she knew about him personally. Here's where it gets heavier. She'd already had run-ins with law enforcement connected to this same guy, all tied to sexual conduct situations she figured weren't worth making a fuss over. She brushed it off, moved on, tried to forget it. But now all of it was rushing back, and the word STDs was being thrown into the conversation, and suddenly the brushing off wasn't so easy anymore. This man had been with her. He'd been with other people, doing the same things, running the same plays, all across the board. And now she's sitting with the question she can't shake. What if he's the one who gave this to her? What if the person responsible for what she's been carrying is out there right now, completely unbothered, living like nothing happened? That thought alone is enough to wreck a whole morning before it even starts. She keeps reminding herself she can't assume, can't point a finger without proof. That old saying about assumptions, that it makes a you-know-what out of you and the other person, keeps running through her head. But not knowing is its own kind of weight. She'll never get a definitive answer, and she knows that. Sitting with that uncertainty every single day is exhausting in a way that's hard to put into words. Because here's the reality she's living with. She's half blind from this. Half blind.
Is that something normal that happens in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Freak-offs.
Hey, everybody know that. I've been saying it.
So why does Puffy, why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time.
That's not a figure of speech. That's the actual consequence she deals with every day because of a health condition she's now carrying. She doesn't let herself dwell on it constantly because dwelling won't change anything, but when something like this interview lands in front of her face, all the walls she built up come right back down. It's not just frustrating, it's devastating. She's choosing to pull back and not say too much, not go all the way in, because at the end of it, what can really be done? Nothing. She can't rewind time. She can't force a confession out of someone who's still out here living free. So So she's letting it go, or at least trying to, because holding on to it is doing more damage to her than it's doing to anyone else. Now, shifting gears to a completely separate story that connects to the same kind of allegations, Diddy has also been accused of giving Usher an STD, and all of this reportedly traces back to when Usher was just 14 years old. At that age, L.A. Reid handed Usher over to Diddy under the label of mentorship, this setup that was being called the Puffy Flavor Camp. The name sounds innocent enough, like some kind of industry training program, where a young artist goes to learn the ropes of the music business. But what Usher has described being exposed to during that time was anything but age appropriate. He talked about being sent to New York City, moving in with Sean Puffy Combs, living under his roof for a full year. 14 years old, living with one of the biggest names in music, and the whole arrangement was framed like an opportunity. L.A. Reid pitched it as, "We're sending you to Puffy Flavor Camp," like it was something to be excited about. And Puffy's place? Usher described it as a non-stop scene. Women everywhere, the kind of environment no teenager should be dropped into without supervision or protection. He was made to witness things, exposed to situations that were wildly beyond what a kid his age had any business seeing, let alone being around. The Flavor Camp was apparently less about developing an artist and more about something else entirely, something that Usher has been open about, in ways that have raised serious eyebrows across the industry. The more these details come out, the harder it is to see any of it as coincidence or exaggeration. Two completely different situations, two different people telling their stories, but the same kind of pattern sitting right underneath the surface. At 13 years old, Usher was already getting a front row seat to a world most grown adults never see. He said himself that he went to witness the lifestyle and he saw it up close, but he was so young he didn't even fully understand what was in front of him. His words were that it was pretty wild. And yeah, no kidding. There were even interviews where people straight up asked whether Diddy had him doing chores, washing dishes, anything to keep him grounded. Usher laughed it off and admitted he could stay up just as late as the adults, and actually outlasted them half the time. Not exactly your typical teenage experience. Fast forward to years later, and Usher is a dad himself. Someone asked him point blank whether he'd ever send his own kid to Diddy's camp. His answer? Hell no. That one response says more than 100 interviews ever could, but here's where things get even more uncomfortable. There's footage of Diddy in an interview where he almost let something slip about him and a 14-year-old Usher sleeping in the same space together. He catches himself mid-sentence, throws in a pause, and starts backpedaling fast. His exact words were something like, "Right here from day one, we used to wake up and damn, pause. But back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes." Bro tried to cover it with a cereal story. Nobody was buying it. And then there's the 2005 Essence magazine cover story where Usher himself seemed to hint that his relationship with Diddy went a lot further than a music mentorship. He said, "I want to save some for my book one day. I'll put it this way, there was a lot of sex." Now, Usher might have thought that was a slick way to dodge a direct answer, but he basically confirmed everything people already suspected without actually saying the words out loud. Here's the thing though, Usher mentioned writing a book, and that detail alone should make anybody nervous because people who've tried to document what really goes on around Diddy have a way of not sticking around long enough to publish anything. Erica Kennedy tried it. A few months after she started digging, she was found dead in her home. Kim Porter was reportedly working on a book too, and she didn't make it either. Both gone before a single page ever went to print. Since Kim Porter's name is already on the table, her story connects directly back to Usher in a way that a lot of people don't know about. An email from one of the publishers who was reportedly working with her on the project leaked online, and the contents were explosive. That email allegedly described parts of the book covering Diddy's private relationships with men, recorded footage of those encounters, a list of people he slept with, and specific claims about him giving Usher an STD. The email reportedly read, "Some of the things in the book cover Diddy's gay relationships, footage of those encounters, the men he slept with, STDs, Diddy giving Usher an STD, and the explosive encounter between Diddy and Usher's mom." Now, plenty of people were quick to write that off as gossip until they remembered what happened back in 2017. That year, Usher got hit with a lawsuit from a woman who claimed he gave her herpes. She said he never told her he'd been diagnosed back in 2009. She described noticing symptoms, doing some research on her own, and coming across reports that connected Usher's diagnosis to Diddy. So she went and got tested. The results came back positive. That lawsuit didn't happen in a vacuum. It landed right on top of everything else people were already whispering about. And suddenly the timeline started making a whole lot of sense to a lot of people who'd been paying attention. The pattern is hard to ignore at this point. From Cassie to Usher, and now Gina Wilson allegedly being added to that list, it raises serious questions about just how far this behavior went. Keep in mind, none of this has been officially confirmed yet. Gina herself hasn't publicly said whether the allegations are true or where she believes it came from, so for now, it stays in that gray area of allegations and speculation. But when she does speak on it, best believe we'll be right here covering every detail as it drops. The comment sections, as always, had plenty to say. One person pointed out something that stuck with a lot of people during the trial. During the trial, there was a lot of talk about the bulk purchase of baby oil, but no talk of bulk condom purchases. That line hit differently when you put it next to what's being alleged now. Another commenter weighed in with this. This is not out of the realm of possibility. The way Diddy running around sleeping with everybody and hiring people that he didn't even know. It is truly possible. And honestly, that's a sentiment a lot of people seem to share, and it's hard not to understand why. The more these stories come out, the harder it gets to dismiss any of them. Each new allegation just adds another layer to an already complicated picture, and people are paying close attention to every development. Now it's your turn to get into it. What's your take on the claim that Diddy allegedly gave Gina HIV? Do you think she'll eventually come forward to confirm or deny the rumor once she's ready to address it publicly? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is the kind of conversation the community needs to have. See you in the next one.